everybody. How's everybody doing? This is Noah, and it's our first video of the year. So, first things first. I took this here photo a couple nights ago, and I want to share with you basically my workflow for setting this photo up for Photoshop. And I want to go over folder structure and basically how to organize your files and get them ready for the future whenever you need to get any photos from anywhere located on your hard drive, on your computer, or just about wherever you keep your stuff stored. So first thing first is I want to show you Bridge. Most people I know that use Adobe Lightroom to organize and structure their photos, but for me, I use Adobe Bridge. It was actually one of the first programs created by Apple to coincide with Photoshop, and this is basically where it all began when renaming files and adding metadata. So if you didn't notice what I did, I practically just drag and dropped my folder into Bridge. This folder is on the desktop. Here are the name of the files, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to pin some metadata and we're going to rename them. So the first things that I like to do is basically select all my photos. I go up to tools and I'm going to batch rename them. So in batch rename, you're basically renaming the files that you've taken for your photo shoot. Now, when you rename them, you can rename them in the same folder, you can move it to another folder, or you can copy it to another folder while keeping the original files in the same folder that they originated from. So I already have a name pulled up called landscape_Saginaw, Maine. So this is a landscape photography job. Saginaw, Maine is the project name, and it's also where the photo was taken. I'm going to preserve my current file name in the XMP metadata. And as you can see, I can make it compatible with Windows, Mac, or Unix. I only use Mac operating system, so I'm going to keep it at the Mac. It's default to Mac. So in the preview, we have our current file name, which is file_100 Canon1. And the new file name is going to be landscape_Saginaw, Maine 1. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to rename and move to another folder. I'm going to browse. I'm going to choose the folder that I want to move it to, which is my hard drive. We're going to photography, photo archives, and we're going to go into this year. This is a non-commissioned work. So I'm gonna go over this folder structure here in a minute, but I'm just quickly put this into the folder. So we have our non-commissioned work, landscape photography, landscape Saginaw, M_V1, and we're gonna put it in raw. And we're gonna hit choose, and then rename, and there we go. It's renaming and it's gone. So now we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna find those files. So we're going to our computer, go to our hard drive, and just swipe in there real quick. And on commission, landscape. All right, so here are our raw files, and we're going to open that up. And if we look over here to the right where it says metadata, you notice there is already a few information here. So we have like Noah Winston 2023. Copyright status is unknown, and the rights usage terms is blank. It does have my name, so this is old information that's already programmed into the camera when I took the photos. So we're gonna go ahead and go to tools. We're gonna go to the pin metadata, and we're going to put Noah Winston 2025. We're gonna copy that in there. So now when we look over there, it says my name, my job title, commercial photographer. It has my website, and it has the copyright notice. We're gonna change the copyright notice to 2025, copyright it, and the rights usage is non-exclusive. That's just one of the copyrights that I chose for that particular job. We can add the date it was created, but I'm not gonna worry too much on that. But real quick, because I feel it says metadata chain, we're gonna hit apply. So let's go and let me explain everything to you before we move on. So again, this is Adobe Bridge. Adobe Bridge is an organizing software unit used to add metadata, print, rename files. This is basically where Lightroom started. So basically, if you ever worked in Lightroom, Lightroom has all these features in it because of Adobe Bridge. So one of the things we did was we renamed our files and we added the metadata. So when we create metadata, it's basically information used so people can find our work, or if they Google us and key terms pop up in our photos and they're able to view it because it's our work. Or if someone steals the work, the metadata is attached to that photo, so we're able to see it and we're able to claim it as ours. So we're gonna go to create metadata template. I'm gonna go to edit actually, and we're gonna hit my name. And this is the information I already have in there. I only have 6 properties selected, and it's creator, job title, website. We're gonna come down, copyright notice, copyright status, and rights usage. Now, if you notice, when I did the append version, it didn't copy the copyright notice that we have selected in here. So we're gonna have to go ahead and override that. So I can either select it here, copy, and then I'm gonna save. But this is the information that we have in here that we wanna attach to our photos. So let's save this. We're gonna hit replace. And we're gonna go here again and we're gonna double check. So as you can see in the copyright notice, it says Noah Winston 2025. We're gonna hit all those. We're gonna go to copyright notice and we're gonna replace it with 2018 to 2025. Noah Winston photography, all rights reserved. I put 2018 to 2025 because I started doing professional work in 2018, and that's the year that I licensed my work, and it continues all the way to this year and forward. And we're going to hit that, and we're going to apply. So now each file should say 2018 to 2025, 2018 to 2025, and there we go. So now we're going to move on to the next part. So let's close out of this. And we're going to go to our hard drive, and I'm going to explain the folder structure as I get to our main photography photos that we took for this night. All right, so we have our main drive, or you can call it root. We have our photography folder, and inside that photography folder is where I keep everything related to photography. The book that I'm working on, my business, Instagram, photo archives, photography misc, and my website. So we're gonna go to photo archive. We're gonna go to this year, and I have structured folders set up for pretty much everything. I have a mock, so anytime I have a new project, I don't have to go create it by hand. I can just go through and create a copy of the mock folder and move on from there. I have my commission work, my non-commission work, and my projects. So this was a non-commission work, so we're gonna go to non-commission. We're gonna go to landscape photography, and we're gonna go to landscape. So this is the folder structure for landscape. It says landscape _ Saginaw M. That's the project name. So that is also where the photos were taken, and it says _V1 for version 1. So if I was to go out, let's say tomorrow, take the same shot, I would create the same folder, but instead of V1, it would say V2 for version 2 of that same location. So we're gonna go inside, and we have our documents in here. So these are the folders that I use. Now, my folder structure is a little bit different than what you would most likely see in an everyday studio or in an individual's workflow. It's a mixture of what we use at work, and I incorporate it into my own personal photography business as well. They're alphabetically ordered by what I need them. So we have our documents, we have our assets, our raw files, contact sheet, selects, PSD workflow, high-res output, and our trash can. And I'll go over those in just a second. So starting with our documents are basically any documents related to the photo shoot. So since this is landscape photography, let's say I needed permission to photograph the property. Let's say I needed permission from the owner to photograph certain things on a property. Well, I'll get those documents signed and I'll upload them and attach them to this folder. So they're all in documents. There's nothing in here right now. I didn't need permission. So I'm gonna label this gray. Gray is basically meaning empty. There's nothing in there and we didn't use anything for the photo shoot that required any documents. Assets are pretty much anything related to like branding, let's say logos, or any attachments that we will use with the photo. I didn't need that either, so we're gonna label that gray. This is something we do at work. We color code everything, and we have our own color code per individual, like different colors. So raw files, we put everything from our main folder on a desktop, and we moved it here. And I'm gonna label that orange. So this is my color at work. This is so people know that this folder is active and this is the person working on it. So we have all of our raw files. There are 18 items. There are 9 photos, and then there's the attachments, which is the XMP data that goes with it. We have our contact sheets. So we're gonna go ahead and create contact sheets for this as well. And I'm gonna go ahead and drag this folder back into Bridge. And we're gonna go to, let's see if I can remember this. All right, so we're in output. We're gonna take these photos. We're gonna drag them over here into Bridge. We've already got 3 pages. So we're gonna change that, and we are going to go to grid and margins. We're gonna do 3 columns, and we're gonna do 3 rows. So we have 9 photos, so there's 9 in total. Now we're at 1 page. So the whole point of basically creating a contact sheet is so you have a list of all the photos you've taken, and if you wanna share this with a client, they can look at the contact sheet and they can basically tell you which images they want to use, which ones they want edited, which ones they like. So you don't have to send them all 400 raw files of one location or so. You can just send them pages of your contact sheet, and your contact sheet will have all that information. This is something they used back in the day with film. They'll take out a roll of 120, they'll put it on a contact sheet, and they'll go through and they'll choose which ones that they like and which ones they don't like. And we're gonna export this to a PDF, and we're gonna put it in our contact sheet, and we're gonna save it as contact sheet underscore Saginaw M underscore V1, and we're gonna hit save. And now we're done with that, and it's gonna pop up here. So now we have a list of all of our photos that we taken for the shoot. So let's go over this one more time, because if I'm going too fast, I apologize. I don't want to go too fast for anybody. So what we did was we dragged our folder back into Bridge. We went over to output, and we dragged our photos into this window, and we customized it by the rows and the columns to see how many images we can fit into this. and then we saved it as a PDF into our folder. So here's our contact folder. So now we're able to look at the photo and figure out which image we want to edit for the shoot. I already know which one I want to edit, but we're gonna look at these and we're gonna say, all right, let's go with image 3 from here. All right, we'll go with image 3 from here, or image 2. And again, this is what we send to our clients. So we're gonna label this yellow because this is my color that tells me that there's something in that folder and that I'm working on it. And then we're gonna go to selects. Selects is empty. For those of you who don't know, selects is basically the file you chose to work on for that shoot, and that you decided to go with. So we're gonna go to raw, and we're going to look at which image. So I think I chose this image, and I'm gonna copy that, Command C. I'm gonna go to selects, and I'm gonna Command V. So now that image is inside there. So this is the one I know for a fact that I am editing for this photo shoot. So this is the photo. As you can see, we have a lot of work to do when we come down to edit, but that will be in our next video. So our workflow. So now let's change this real quick before we move on, and then we'll go into workflow. I already have a photo ready for the workflow. It's on the desktop. I'll just move it in here. And we're gonna change that name so we know which photo we're working with in the master. So now we're gonna remove landscape. It's gonna say Saginaw Main 3 _ master. This is the master file that we're working with. And we're going to hit OK. So this is the folder where we have our PSD workflows. And this is the file that we're using that we're going to edit our photo. All right, so the last two, we have our high res output, which once we're done editing our photos, they're always exported and output at 300 DPI. And this is because when I put it on my website, I want the highest quality that I can achieve so anyone can look at the photo at the best resolution. Or if I'm going to print it, I want to make sure I already have a saved file that's going to be printable at 300 DPI. So our last folder is our trash bin. This is basically where if you aren't using a file, if it's a duplicate, or it's a file with corruption, we're gonna put it in the trash, but we're gonna keep it just in case we need to go back and review it for later, so we don't miss anything. So let's say that one has a particular attachment to it that we needed and we already deleted it. Well, it's in our trash can, so we can go back and look at it, and we can take it apart, put it onto the new document, and move on from there. So I'm gonna exit out of this, and I'm gonna take one more dive at this for what it is that we're doing, just in case I went too fast for you guys. All right, so again, we opened up our file. This is where our photos were that we taken for the photo shoot. And what we did was we dragged it to Adobe Bridge, and then Adobe Bridge opened up. All of our photos were present here. We basically renamed them. So we create a metadata. This is where you create all your information that you want to attach to that photo, and then you'll save it. Once we're done, we're going to append it. Append it is basically applying that information to the photo, or you can replace metadata that's already there. So let's go here. So then again, if we look down here, we have all of our file properties. So we have our name, our job title, our website, the date it was created. It was taken 3/2/7:41 in the morning. Our copyright notice, our copyright status, and our rights usage. So let me go over the folders for you real quick before we end this. So the way I have mine set up, you can do this however you want to do with anything else. We have our education, personal, photography, video, and writing. But that's not what this is about. We're more concerned about photography. So in our photography, I have everything related to photography. Again, so like I'm working on a photography book. So this is basically where I would keep it. My photography business, where I keep all my anything related to that. Instagram, photo archive, photography miscellaneous, and my website. So in the photo archive, I have 2014 to 2024. That's an entire decade of working in photography that I'm done with. 2025 is a whole new decade that I'm working in. So it'll be 2025 to 2035 when I'm eventually done with it. So we have our commission work, our non-commission work, and then we have our projects, and our mock folder. Our mock folder is basically client name, project, and what version of that is. So I can copy and paste this folder anytime I want without having to create a whole new one from scratch. And I'll just put all my photos and all of my documents into this folder right here. So non-commission work, I have landscape and portrait photography right now. The one I'm concerned about right now is the landscape. So of course, when I create a new folder, it's going to say landscape again, and then we're going to have project name and which file version. So it's version 1. And then again, we have our folder structure, documents, assets, raw, contact sheet selects, PSD workflow, high-res output at 300 DPI in our trash bin. So now we're at the final step of our workflow, and we're gonna open that file up. And this is basically where we're at. So now we have our photo uploaded, everything's ready. Next step is basically editing, and we're gonna end it right there because the next video, I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys my Photoshop workflow, how I set Photoshop up, how I get it ready for editing a photo, and some of the steps that I take before I even get to it. So I hope this was very useful to you guys and that you guys actually learned something from it. If you need anything, leave a comment in the video and I'll get back with you. But there you go. Thank you.